Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update of what's going on with my pregnancy. I'm officially 7 months in, and I'm really excited to be getting towards the end. I'm officially out of the honeymoon stage of the pregnancy, meaning it's going to get a little bit tougher. It's getting a little harder for me to move around. And so, like, you know, the cute baby bump and all that, that's out the window. My stomach is getting huge. And honestly, this feels like a really big baby. The hardest parts for me are usually, it's getting a little bit harder to sleep. I'm waking up a little bit more often to go to the bathroom or to readjust myself through the night because of leg pains and leg cramps. And what that is coming from is because my hips are starting to widen up and it's preparing my body for labor. So, like I said, I'm 7 months in. The baby is 14.5 inches long, weighing about 2 pounds. So it's about the size of a cauliflower. The baby can hear my voice. The lungs are developing to the point where it can function outside of the womb with the assistance of like medical help. So if God forbid, you know, I were to have the baby early, it would be possible for the baby to, you know, live at this point. What else is going on with the baby? The baby can see light through the womb, can close and open her eyelids, and she can also suck on her thumb. Yeah, the most difficult point in the pregnancy at this point is, like I said, my hips are starting to widen. So for me, sitting up is more comfortable than laying down. Unless I have something in between my legs, then it's kind of difficult to lay down. So now I'm starting to have to sleep with a pillow, which I didn't have to do before. So I'm not gonna waste my money and buy one of those like full-length body pillow. I just put a regular pillow in between my legs, and that's good enough for me. It helps me sleep throughout the night. Now's the time to like sign up for like baby classes. I'm definitely gonna sign up for Lamaze. Out of 4 pregnancies, me and my husband, we've never done Lamaze because I always knew that I was gonna do the epidural option. Now that I know that I want to try natural birth, we're definitely going to sign up, and he has to do it. He has no choice. I mean, this is my last baby. I want to fully experience this pregnancy. That's why I'm taking a lot of pictures and just really fully embracing my body during pregnancy. I think it's one of those things, during pregnancy, you're kind of taught, I don't know how it is for everybody else. I just feel like in the Black community, pregnancy is looked down upon up until, you know, you're married and you can you're of a certain age. So I think it's like embedded in women's head that pregnancy is not like this thing you flaunt and really talk about. You don't see a lot of Black women talking about their pregnancy. Most of them don't really announce that they're going to have a baby until they're like 6, 7 months into the pregnancy, and then, you know, they have 4 or 5 months left, and then suddenly they have a baby. So and that's how it was for me. Like, I think I announced when I was pregnant, but throughout the first 3 of my pregnancies, I really didn't talk about much. I didn't really get too involved with the pregnancy. And I just think it's just this thing that's embedded in our heads that, you know, we think that, you know, it's just not something you talk about. So I'm breaking all the stereotypes and I'm talking about it. I'm taking pictures with my body. I'm feeling sexy, and I'm not holding back when it comes to my pregnancy. Matter of fact, I think I'm trying to plan on taking some more maternity shoots. I have a couple of people that I've been talking to, so I'm going to see where that goes. But, you know, you got to do what you have to do in order to survive. Especially being, you know, a young mom, doing it on your own, not having really any help or support from anyone else besides your own family, and they're 700 miles away. So you have to do the best that you can to take care of yourself. No, first and foremost, you are the most important, because if you don't survive, the baby won't survive. And in most cases, you know, if something does happen to the mom, sometimes the baby does survive and, the mom passes on, whether it's from complications during childbirth or just, God forbid something, happened where like the mom was shot and, later on in pregnancy. I'm really talking about some morbid stuff. And then later on in the pregnancy, where the baby could survive at this point at 27 weeks and on, if the baby was gotten to in time and taken out the womb, the baby could survive. Um, for me, like being down here in South Carolina away from my family, it was really tough. It was probably the hardest moments of my life because, like I said, besides the support that my husband was trying to give me, other than that, there was no support, not from his end of the family, or I didn't really make any of that much friends. So, as far as support emotionally, mentally, and psychologically, I really had none. So, it was difficult. It was really hard. And there were times I felt like giving up. There were times I felt like I wouldn't be able to make it, or there were times I felt like I wouldn't be able to get through it. But through the grace of God, I did. Definitely being spiritual was a big help in getting through anxiety, depression, feeling alone, feeling like I was doing it by myself, praying, fasting, not fasting while I was pregnant, but afterwards, during like the postpartum stages, fasting, praying would help to get me through it. Connecting with my friends, even though they weren't close by, I would, make some phone calls and talk to friends outside of where I was living, or participating with my kids and doing things for them really helped me to feel better about myself, whether it was going to visit them at school or just making sure that they were taken care of made me feel better about myself. Changing my diet, for one, definitely helped because it gave me a lot more energy to be eating healthier foods, to be learning about ways to help heal myself when it came to my hyperthyroidism. Um, all those things were helpful in overcoming anxiety and depression. Changing my diet, exercising, working out, being spiritually connected, and understanding my mental space, and getting in touch with heart, soul, body, and mind, and connecting with friends even though they weren't close by. I did the best I could to connect with other people. Okay, so let's get on to the fun topic, sex during pregnancy. Now, I know this is a touchy subject for some women. I think even some women avoid sex altogether during pregnancy, but I'm telling you, you don't have to do that. You just have to get comfortable with your body, and it is a little difficult at first. And I'm pretty sure, with your first pregnancy, you want to be careful. You want to be able to make sure that the baby is safe and that there's, you don't harm the baby in any type of way, but the baby is fully protected inside his or her little cushiony womb. So you don't have to worry about that. Until later on, I think, once you start the process of like dilating, I think then you should try to avoid sex. I don't know. That's like a subject you need to talk about with your doctor because sometimes they say having sex increases your chances of going into labor. But I just feel like if your cervix is starting to dilate, then you should to avoid putting things up there. Just to because that little donut called the cervix, that's what pretty much blocks the link between your vaginal area and then the womb where your baby is. So I would say not to have sex unless you're you talk to your doctor and your doctor gives you the okay. Um, okay, so a lot of people are uncomfortable with it. Some women are uncomfortable with their body during sex. I, for one, was uncomfortable maybe the first pregnancy. After that, I started to really get comfortable with my body. My boobs are getting bigger. I feel like they kind of you know, ratio out between, you know, a big belly and a big breast. And really from the front, you can't really tell that my stomach is that big. So you can find new positions for having sex, as opposed to like going missionary style, which can be really uncomfortable. Being on top is uncomfortable for the woman because you know it's like the penis is going up as opposed to going down. So being on your side or doing doggy position is more comfortable. It's as opposed to like getting being on top or the missionary position. Those are like the most uncomfortable positions. And for a lot of women, you know, being on top and having this big belly in the way, it's kind of like, no, thank you. So, you know, I definitely suggest laying on your side or doing the doggy position. That is more of comfortable positions during sex. If you're feeling like you just can't be sexy, I'm definitely telling you guys to, you know, get into doing a little bit more makeup and work out during your pregnancy so that you won't feel like a fat blob. Because there's a lot of women that are like, you know, I wish my body looked like yours and I wish that I looked like this or that during pregnancy. And it's all up to you what you're gonna look like. I mean, you have to make decisions on what you're eating and how you're working out to decide what your body's gonna look like. You know, everybody just doesn't look like this fat slob during pregnancy. And if you feel like that's how you're looking, then you should probably, you know, you should have considered this before getting pregnant. Because chances are, if you're overweight during pregnancy, you're probably overweight before. So, I mean, if you don't want to feel uncomfortable during pregnancy, I definitely suggest losing a little bit of weight before you do decide to get pregnant because you will be uncomfortable. You will feel, you know, like you're not sexy. So, definitely you need to work out. You need to make better food choices in order for you to feel comfortable with your body. Oh, definitely try to keep it spicy in the relationship. It's very difficult for your husband or your boyfriend during pregnancy, especially if you're one of those women that's like completely avoiding him during the pregnancy. It can be very difficult and it can take a toll on your relationship if you're that type of woman who's being, you know, a little bit selfish and not trying to satisfy him. If you don't feel like having sex, you can always do oral sex. You can, I mean, I'm not the oral sex type of gal, but you know, I'm asked, I'll hook my man. But it's not like I'm just like going for it. But if you don't want to have sex, I would suggest giving your man oral and not making him feel left out during the pregnancy. Also, one thing I did for my husband recently is I sent him some cute little nude photos, some little back shots, you know, some little, you know, I covered up my breast or covered up my belly just to make it feel a little bit more sexy. And I just went out of my way to make him feel special and make him understand that I really appreciate him, that I care about his satisfaction. And I just made sure that I was thinking about him and not just about me and the baby. So, you know, if you want to make sex a little bit more comfortable during pregnancy, I suggest having sex on the side or from the back, giving your man oral sex. If you don't feel like having sex at all, and just to keep it spicy, send him a couple nude shots. I'm sure he's probably loving your new big breast. And, you know, I don't know. For me personally, I feel like my skin gets better during pregnancy. So I want to take all advantages of that and make sure to, you know, make my husband know that, you know, I appreciate him because they can be very selfless during the pregnancy where they're just like, it's all about you, whatever you want. So just go out of your way to make your man feel special during sex. So that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you stay tuned and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Hmm. Sex.